Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Roberto Monaco here with Influenceology and the Car Speaking Company. And today I have a powerhouse, my brother, live from Dr. Patrick McMahon. What's up, my brother?
How's it going, Roberto?
I am amazing, amigo. How are you doing, brother?
Yeah, doing excellent. Excellent. So good to be with you here today.
So excited. What time is it in Spain right now?
5:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Beautiful light out here over the Mediterranean.
Oh, I love it. So, but you, Dr. Patrick, I'm so excited. He's a doctor. He practices in Barcelona, Spain, and he also has an amazing company called Syntropy, which probably has one of the coolest visions. Our vision, I'm putting the website here, is to create the best adjusters on the planet. Man, I love that. I love it. And I love it. And I'll tell a quick story so we can start a conversation. I remember you and I met, 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
And you came to one of our classes. And I've been doing public speaking presentations since 2002. A ton of experience, over 4,500 talks. And I never, ever, ever lost my voice. Ever. So I'm doing my class. It's basically 3 days, 30-hour, 12-hour process. And around 6 o'clock on the first day, I'm speaking and I felt something click like this. And within an hour, my voice was literally gone. I mean, literally gone. I never since 2002, never happened. And I was so grateful because I was in a room full of Kairos and remember the adjustment that you gave me, brother. And man, I was so powerful. And the next day, my voice was not 100%, but I was able to deliver the class Saturday and Sunday. So I just want to thank you for that, brother. Can you be specific on the technique that you use that day?
Absolutely.
Remember?
No, it was a blessing. I knew when this happened with you, I thought, well, chiropractic, it doesn't really cure anything, but if you're in balance, it's definitely your body's going to do better, right?
Yeah.
And so I went to my go-to adjustment in situations like that is always going to be the occipital lift. So it's an occipital lift that's basically, it just kind of distracts the spine, but it's a really, really smooth move. And man, it turns the power on, brother.
Yeah. So I'm very grateful. So thank you so much. And then Dr. Pat gave an amazing talk in the end, and then we connected, and then him and Dr. Aaron Morris, they said, hey, do you want to do an event in Spain? I said, yeah. So we were scheduled to go July 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Barcelona. Obviously, because of the COVID, we couldn't make it happen. So we did the virtual, and that was amazing. I got to super grateful for you and Dr. Aaron Morris for bringing all the Kairos from Europe, from all over, man. It was such an amazing experience. And you have such an important mission, man, which is help Kairos to become the best adjusters in the world. So today, we're going to talk about living from inside out. And also we're going to be doing a private session we call tailgate session for the participants of our Influencing from the Front coming up virtual experience, October 9th, 10th, 11th. And Dr. Pat's going to be doing a session on becoming a master adjuster. Right? I love it. So what's the big idea here? Talk about living from inside out. What's the idea? What's the philosophy?
Man, it's a big topic, but I want to jump into it. So it's something that for me has been just the biggest experience of my life. We have such a beautiful philosophy in chiropractic that we recognize that there is an intelligence to the universe. There's order to the universe. There's an intelligence within us, and it's a part of that greater intelligence. And more than anything, it's something that gives us trust, and it gives us the ability to just have faith in our own body's ability to handle itself. And that's the philosophy. And I love the philosophy. And without the adjustment, it's just pretty words. It's just pretty words. And what I want to bring to the profession is where people are delivering with their hands a repeatable experience where people are having a before and after undeniable experience where they shift in their physiology, not only in their structure, their function, but in their psychology and how they show up in the world. And that's what I'm really, really committed to. And that's what we mean by creating the best adjusters on the planet. I want to make it really, really clear. I don't want anyone to think that Aaron, my business partner, Aaron Morris, or myself are holding ourselves out there to say that we're the best adjusters on the planet. It's not it. Our vision is for everyone to be the best adjuster they can be. And then they show up as their best self so that they get the best results and they take care of the people in their community. And through this thing called chiropractic, we have the power to literally change the world. I believe that with heart and soul.
So I know I love that. So a couple of questions. One is, why did you guys got involved on training doctors on how to elevate their adjusting skills? Because something that, as a non-chiropractor, myself and my wife and I, we talk about the different adjustments we have received throughout the last 6-7 years. And some adjustments, I mean, literally, for my audience here that is, you never been to a chiropractor, you guys just send me a message. I can find a chiropractor in your area. But some adjustments is almost like before and after, like literally. I mean, it's crazy. And some of them,
you flip the switch.
No, it's crazy. I'm telling you, if you've never been truly a powerful chiropractic adjustment, is like, man, is truly an amazing. It's almost like you're walking around with like a dirty glass, and then you don't know, and you remove the dirty glass, and you like can see it. That's an analogy I can try to explain. But also I have had adjustments that I received that were not as powerful. So can you tell us a little bit about why you got into the business of helping doctors to elevate their adjusting skills? What was the story behind it?
Super long story. The short version is my very first experience with chiropractic was because of a back issue. I had a compression fracture in my thoracic spine. I was young. I was a teenager. And Roberto, I don't know if you've ever had any level of chronic pain that's just like, it's just gnawing at your soul. There's no way you can move. You can't get up. You can't go to sleep. You can't hide from it. It just gnaws at you, right? And so my mother, she takes me to the hospital first, to the medical doctors. I'm taking all these different pills. And eventually she takes me to a chiropractor. And so I had no preconceptions. I had no idea what a chiropractor was. I didn't know what it was about. My mom was just taking me to this other type of doctor. And the dude, I'm telling you, he didn't explain anything about chiropractic, but he showed up. He was present. He had an incredible touch. He was a giant guy. He used to play football for the Denver Broncos, right? So he's this huge bear of a dude, but totally tapped in, like the teddy bear energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the loving energy, yep.
Totally, like big fatherly energy. And he gave me this adjustment that was so smooth. It was an anterior thoracic. And I remember not only did it help, the pain dropped almost immediately. It took time for that to heal, right? But what I noticed was, without any explanation whatsoever, when I would leave his office, all of a sudden I would sit in my car and I would just listen to the birds. And I could hear differently. And I felt like, as a teenage guy, you know, you're all amped up, you're trying to figure out your way in the world and all this stuff. And for the first time, I felt like true, genuine inner peace and connected to something bigger than me. Okay, and so fast forward a few years, he didn't really explain much to me, and I thought, man, I love chiropractic. If I get hurt again, guess where I'm going? I'll go back to a chiropractor if I get hurt, right? So the universe, in all its brilliant wisdom, sent me some more learning experiences, right? And I had some more physical challenges that showed up in my life, and we'll fast forward a bit, but at some point I realized, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Okay, I need to go become a chiropractor. And the very first thing you notice is when you're in chiropractic school and you're getting banged on by students and you're going to student clinic, and you realize that chiropractic, Reggie Gold said this, chiropractic's like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's good, right? But there's levels, right? And so what I was experiencing was this kind of physical manipulation, excuse me. And you would have some level of pain relief. You would feel better. It's kind of a rub-a-dub experience. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And then I had the good fortune to meet one of my mentors who really, really inspired me to go on this path to mastery. And he delivered an adjustment that was, man, it was the business. It was like white light, right? When I got adjusted, there was a complete before and after experience. And I thought this is a sham because nobody else did that. And then the next time I got adjusted by him, it was very, very similar. And he inspired me. He asked me a question. He asked all of us a question because he's been a leader to a lot of people. And he said, do you want to be a master or do you want to be mediocre? You know, and I thought immediately, I in that moment, I knew whatever it was going to take, if there's an ability, if this is a skill, if this is not something you're born with, if anybody can do it, then I'll learn to do it. And I'll put everything I've got into this. And Roberto, I spent the next 20 years, I mean, I'm still on that path. Certainly have not arrived. It's something that I continue to train. And so basically there's a lot of different things that we have to train to deliver those kinds of adjustments.
So I got goosebumps. I'm thinking as you finish up the story, I'm like, man, next time I go to Spain, I can't wait to go to Spain to get adjusted again. The way you talk about the chiropractic adjustment, I love it. So a couple of questions that I'm going to play the devil's advocate here, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say, for example, the doctor who's thinking, how about techniques? You know what I mean? How about I have this technique. What kind of techniques to teach? Maybe you can speak a little bit about developing your chiropractic adjustment regardless of the technique that you use.
Absolutely. Yeah, because what Aaron and I have put together with Centropy, really, it's not a technique per se. It's an approach to the spine. It's an approach to the human being that you're dealing with. And so what we do is we want to break it down from an energetic to a material and biomechanical and neurological level. So it's really, really important. I mean, we as chiropractors, if we hold ourselves out to be specialists of the nervous system and that we are bringing balance, we're helping remove interference from the nervous system, I think it's good for us to understand about that and be able to speak on any level with a neurologist, with anybody about it, but also to the guy next door. And it's something way bigger than neurology. You know, we know corpse has a brain and nerves. There's something different. There's something energetic. There's something intangible that we all have inside of us. And when we as chiropractors, we learn to develop that, number one, by getting quality chiropractic care and making sure that we're clear and connected. Number two, doing the personal work to clear a lot of our stuff out of the way, but also just to deepen our nervous system's ability to be with a lot of energy. Okay, so there's the energetic aspect that Aaron and I, we place that at the base of the hierarchy because most people, they're trying to train the physical aspect. Like you're going to jiu-jitsu class and you're going to, shoot archery and you're getting the physical aspect. And that's super important. There's no way around that. You have to. And there's something that shows up, and I know you've experienced it. Somebody who's been doing this with a lot of experience, they may not even know how they do it, but there's a connection that they have with the person on the table.
Is just so my understanding here is the word energetic components is the state of the doctor, or goes beyond that?
No, it's beautiful because, as a matter of fact, that's great. I know you got the background with Anthony Robbins. This goes in perfectly for me because we view subluxation as a state. It's an unresourceful state of the nervous system. Yeah, and so that little bone misalignment or that bone not moving correctly, I think, is kind of secondary to the nervous system state. And what happens is, in my experience, and I'll take credit for my own experience and not speak for other chiropractors. Yep. But the nervous system, it has basically one thing: it's trying to keep you safe. Okay, we have a nervous system so we can be, number one, better predators, so we can go chase the food. Yep. And so we can not be prey, so we can run away from the other predators, right? Only things that move have nervous systems. And so this is really important to understand. The nervous system is generating this energy and it's always trying to figure out like what is going on in my environment. And when we get into a stressed out fight or flight, inappropriate stress state, then we're energetically off. We're not connected to our highest self. We're in a different state of our brain even. Okay, so, I mean, from Anthony Robbins' work, you change your body, you change your physiology, and you can change your mental state. Yeah. Well, subluxation is a very real physical representation of that block in that mind-body where people are locked in non-resourceful states. And I love this word.
I love that.
Full.
Man, this is brilliant, man. I never connected. Nobody ever heard about being subluxation being connected to a state. You know what I mean? I never thought about that. I never thought about that. Never thought about that. So the so a lot of doctors, they practice for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Mm-hmm. And obviously I feel like with, and I can correlate that with speaking. If someone does, for example, never got speaking training, for example, or got like a very basic, and they did 500 talks, let's say, or 1,000 talks, they're going to be better. But what happens is that even though they're better than the most people, they still have developed bad habits or bad patterns, right? Because they didn't have kind of like someone outside looking in, say, hey, you can do this better. So I'm assuming when it comes to adjustment, there's a guy when he graduates, let's say with 100 adjustments, and then after 10 years, now the doctor has, let's say, 5,000 adjustments, just a number, right? And let's say, well, why should I train? Okay. Do you have an example? You guys do events everywhere. Do you have an example of a doctor? Okay, you don't need to mention the doctor's name, that was in the pattern of like, man, I don't need to train my adjustments, and then went to your class or master technique, and something happened in a positive way, a new way of almost like a success story or a new way of approaching adjustment. Do you have an example of that?
I have so many of those stories. It's not even funny because, you know, the people come out of school and they've got just their however many adjustments. You said 100, then a few years later they got 5,000, and people think they have 5-10 years of experience, right? Mm-hmm. Of practice experience. But what we found is that most of them, if they're not putting the actual effort into doing this, they don't have 5, 10, 20 years of experience. They have 1 year of experience copied and pasted over and over and over. And so we've seen quite a few people come in. We've seen Aaron and I, we always get together at the end of the seminar, and it's not been a good seminar if somebody didn't come up to us and tell us with tears in their eyes, man, I was getting ready to leave the profession. I was done. Because either they were getting hurt or they just had completely lost the passion. And part of me, I'm like, I can't even understand that because I'm more passionate about this than anything in the world. But on the other hand, you just see their eyes light up. And they see like, wow, I haven't been playing full out, and I want to show up, and I want to play full out, and I want to be able to deliver what we just experienced here. So that happens every single time. And then the beauty is when you see them a year or 2 years later, and they're in our we got a little private group on Facebook, right? And we have people send their videos in and they get coached. And the guys who really send their videos in and work on it, man, you watch them a year, 2 years later, it's like, that's who I want to send my family to. That's who I would want to adjust my child, you know? And to see that, that's what makes it all worthwhile. I can think of several. One person in particular, I'm thinking right off the bat, this doctor in Australia, and she just showed up big time. She saw us adjusting at Chiro Europe, started coming, and she really just dedicated herself to training. She weighs like $120 soaking wet, you know, not a big person at all, but she can bring the heat, man. She is an awesome adjuster. Yeah.
I love it. From all these students that you guys have worldwide, what, and we don't want to call mistakes, but if you were to put pre your training, pre-event, when the doctors come in, if you were to put like, in what are maybe 1 or 2 things that they are not doing that they could be doing, at least one thing to improve their adjustment, or don't want to call mistake, but what is the one thing that, hey, if they just did that, the outcome would be better? What would be 1 or 2 things?
Yeah, 2 things. Number 1 would be moving away from rotary adjustments and towards the lateral flexion or a coupled movement. And really the chiropractors that are listening, they'll understand it's about understanding how the joints move, their innate biomechanics. So if we really, really get clear on that, it just makes everything easier for the patient, for the person that we're taking care of. That's number 1. Number 2, and this is for the practitioner, it's for the chiropractor, right? And that is about removing leverage from your adjustments. So what I mean is, like if I'm trying to move towards the camera, right, then I want a direct movement towards the camera. If I start bringing elbows and, you know, everything out like this, you can see I'm starting to load all kinds of leverage into my body. And so for every 100 units of energy I put out, half of it's bouncing back into my joints. And this is where we see the old timers, they're beat up. They can't practice anymore. Their shoulders are blown out. Their wrists are hurt. Their low back. So learning to line up your force and remove as much leverage as possible so that there's efficiency going into your adjustment. So
that's big. That's so big. That's so big because I feel like I personally have met so many chiros who, quote unquote, they never want to retire because they love deliver the powerful adjustment. But unfortunately, it is a physical activity. Yep. And if they don't take care of on how they go about adjusting, interesting, very interesting. I love that.
Because, Roberto, the thing is, chiropractic, the adjustments, they don't need a lot of flair or artistry, but they should be beautiful. And you should see that when you make an adjustment, it's efficient. Okay, it's like jujitsu, brother. It's like really like maximizing the energy output or maximizing the utilization of that energy. So there shouldn't be any jarring. You shouldn't see people do this when they get an adjustment. It should be like art. It should be just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Love it. I guess do you, when you approach your patients, let's talk about you as a patient, when you approach your patients, what is your mindset when you adjust? Do you have several different tools that you pull, or do you have so what is your mind? Can you just talk a little bit about your care that you deliver to your patients and the mindset that you have about adjusting them?
Absolutely. So I make it real clear from day one with all my people that what we're here to do is to help move your nervous system out of threat and into ease. And if we can get sustained ease and we can get your nervous system to live in that state, it's a very powerful, balanced, healing state. So not only does your body work better, your organs work better, but you feel more calm and connected. Okay. And so if that's what I want for my people, then I need to have that myself. So I spend a lot of time making sure that I get in the state before I adjust. And the state that I'm looking to arrive at is one of total ease, being relaxed, okay, being connected. And then what I'm looking for is I'm not looking for the bad place that I've got to fix and beat up in their spine. I'm not trying to kill the subluxations. I'm looking for the window in. And what I'm trying to do with each adjustment is I want to see that the person opens and gets more in ease, so that when we do that with time and repetition, then we're going to see that person become someone different rather than me hitting high spots every time they come in. Does that make sense?
That makes sense for sure. I love that.
So I focus on getting as connected as possible and wanting just balance and ease for that person on my table.
I love it. So let's talk about I'm sure the doctors are watching this and like, man, this sounds amazing. They want to learn more about what you guys do. And I see, man, you guys have a massive following everywhere. Doctors rave about your seminars. So what is the best way to connect with you and Dr. Aaron? What's the best way? Do you have any events coming up? What's the lowdown?
Yeah, we do. So, I mean, brother, you know how this year has been. It has been something interesting. But very much thanks to you, after the virtual event that we did in Barcelona, Aaron and I, we were going to cancel, but we stepped up and we did a virtual event in Australia. Dude, it was insane, because how can you teach adjusting virtually, right?
It's incredible.
It was so good. It was like, we have people that have been to our seminars and they said this one was better than any we'd been to. And that is because of you, brother. That would not have happened. So first of all, I want to thank you for that. And we're going to do our best to try and do live events as well, because we love being there.
Yep.
We are coming to Dallas and Atlanta. I believe it's the end of October, beginning of November, last 2 weekends in October, Dallas and Atlanta.
Nice.
Yeah. Excited to get back to the States.
And if they wanna, if the chiros listen to us, what is the website to register or learn more about the events?
Yeah, it's www.centropy Chiro Training. So it's
there's a link below here. That's the one you put below the video here.
That's the one.
That's amazing. Yeah. So one more thing, but I just love, brother. I love how congruent you and Dr. Aaron, you guys are. For me, work with so many people, and for me, I love to work with congruent leaders. And I know how much you guys care. I know how much you guys train. I've seen everything that you share here. You guys in the back end, you guys do with your people. Take care of your doctors who come to class. I just want to acknowledge, man. I love it. So last question here. before we wrap up, right now, this whole COVID, I know you're very active. I always love your powerful post on Facebook. I always get a kick out of it. So where do you see chiropractic right now, or chiropractors, the role? Is an opportunity now for chiropractors to just crush it? Where do you see this whole ordeal? Where chiropractic and chiropractors fit in?
I think it's the best opportunity we've ever had. I've been in this profession for about 20 years, and there's always somebody saying there's never been a better time to be a chiropractor, right? But honestly, I see a shift. I see a shift, and this is really what the purpose of this talk is about living from the inside out. And I think people are feeling innately inside of them how disconnected we are in the world. I went into Apple today. They robbed my stuff last week. I told you about it. So I went to go get a new iPad, and man, you go in, they're taking your temperature, they're taking questionnaires, you got to put the gel on, and then you put the gloves on, and then you go in and they're like coming up talking to you, and you got to put your coat in, but then they say you got to stand 2 meters away. It's just, we're going in virtual, and I love it. Thank God for this technology. We can help so many more people. And people are hungry. People are hungry for connection to themselves, to their communities, to just feeling that truth inside, that we're biological beings, we're social beings, where people want to take better care of themselves. They're starting to realize, like, it makes a difference whether I'm healthy or not. This isn't killing everybody. And so the one thing that I would say is, I get out there a little bit on my Facebook page, because I pretty much have all chiropractors as my following. But I would try and stay in agreement with people. And not make them wrong. But I just think if we can just deliver what we have in a beautiful way, respect that people are afraid right now, take the precautions so that they feel comfortable. And yet when we adjust them in a beautiful way and their system starts to open up, they're already connected. They know the answers. It's inside. Okay. But what's happening is everybody's locked out here, outside, this external, not even information, there's disinformation out there. Right? And people are just all this stuff. And what we have as chiropractors is an ability to help people get back inside, back in here. And the truth resonates with everybody.
I love that, brother. Man, what a pleasure. Always, man. So grateful that I had the opportunity to hang out with you and to get to know you.
Likewise.
And so grateful. Can't wait to hear your tailgate session coming up.
Yeah.
October 9th, 11th. He's going to be talking about some techniques about how to become a master adjuster. For all the chiropractors out there, go to syntropychirotraining.com. There's a link here. Dr. Pat, Dr. Aaron Morris, they are the real deal, and they're coming to Dallas and ATL in October, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're coming there last 2 weekends of October.
Awesome, brother. Thanks so much, brother, for spending time today, and we talk very soon, brother. Appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.